You don't need a niche, you need a why. Because the mistake so many creators make is starting from the what. Like, what is my niche? What should I talk about? Instead, focus on the why, because that is what's going to give people a reason to care. And so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to find your why and how to use it as the foundation of all of your content so that you don't box yourself in and instead you build a movement that is bigger than yourself. Hello, and if you're new here, my name is Marta, and I previously built a 6-figure natural beauty brand, but eventually I ended up outgrowing it. Essentially, I found myself boxed into a niche that didn't really represent me anymore, so I had to start from scratch. So it was 2023, and I clearly remember I was so stuck trying to find my niche, and I was watching this Simon Sinek's TED Talk, and what he said genuinely changed everything for me. He said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one?
People don't just buy a computer, they buy into a belief. Thinking differently. And so, as Simon Sinek says, the goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. So let's get clear on what that why, that belief is for you. So how do you find your why? Now, the simplest way is to remember why you started. And it really helps to really reconnect with your story. An unhelpful exercise is to sit down and actually write your story, write what has brought you here. So let me give you an example. For me, I started because I wanted to help people show up online as their most authentic self. And this came from my own story. I burnt out in my previous business and I didn't feel like myself anymore. But on a deeper level, identity is actually something I've struggled with my entire life. I've been adopted. I often felt like I didn't fully belong. So this quest for authenticity is literally part of me. It's like, has always been my why. Let me give another example. Say you create cozy vlogs, sharing your journey as a mom of 2. Well, ask yourself, okay, but why am I sharing this? What is the bigger goal behind it? What is the reason that made me start? And one exercise that might help is also to think about a word that can anchor you to this why, this mission that started everything. So for example, for me, that word is acceptance, accepting myself and accepting how I show up in the world. But your word, for example, might be freedom because you value that time freedom that you have with your children above anything else, or you value their freedom in how they should grow up, how they learn. And so the point is that why is going to permeate all of the content that you make. That why becomes the foundation, and that is what's gonna allow you to grow and evolve as a person and a personal brand and make this content creation journey sustainable in the long run. Once you're clear on your why, you might wonder, okay, but what do I actually talk about in my content? So I like to think about your why as the belief that you stand for, the purpose, the golden thread that informs all of your content decisions. And then you have your what, your tools. And these are the ways that you put that belief into action. For example, in my case, my why is to help people show up as themselves online. But my tools are content creation, YouTube, and brand building. But for you, your tools could be design, could be teaching English, could be being a mom. And so while it's important to identify those tools, those skills, they shouldn't be at the core of your mission because those tools, those skills will change over time, just like you and the people that follow you will change. And so rooting your mission around a why and not around a what is what's going to give you the permission to evolve and grow as a creator. And it's also what's going to allow you to expand on the things that you talk about and bring your audience on that journey with you. So as an example, right now I talk about YouTube, I also talk about email marketing, I talk about branding, I talk about motherhood as well, because these are the things that define me right now. But in the future, my kids will grow up and, I might dive into different social media platforms. And that's okay because my why, the root of why I'm doing this won't change. And honestly, that feels so refreshing to me because how can you confine yourself into talking about one single thing for the rest of your life? That's impossible. And even if it was possible, It's just not sustainable. So we talked about your why and your what. Now let's talk about your who, your audience. So how do I find my audience? That's something many creators really stress about. It's definitely something I've stressed about for so long. I actually was thinking about it for over a year when I wanted to start my YouTube channel, but I was very stuck into thinking, should this YouTube channel be for person A or for person B? But that's when I realized that your audience is actually just a version of yourself. Say that you're teaching about a problem you've solved. Well, your audience is like your past self. Or if you're sharing something you're still in the process of figuring out, well, your audience is walking alongside of you. So it's kind of like you in that moment trying to solve that problem and learning from you. Either way, they feel connected to you because they see themselves in you. So I think one of my recent YouTube videos is a perfect example. This was one of my first videos that went semi-viral and grew my channel from less than 500 subscribers to over 2K in a couple of weeks. And so in this video, the title connected really well with new creators and small YouTubers. So that's a skill, YouTube content creation. But actually what made people subscribe and actually stay was the way I presented myself. So a lot of moms actually started following me after this video because they actually told me that they deeply connected with the thumbnail of the video where it was me holding my baby. And you know, even though I wasn't actively trying to target moms, that was just my circumstance. And so those moms that connected deeply with that video, I think they really saw themselves in me, you know, just a mom trying to build an online business through her content in between naps. And so to recap, don't stress too much about finding your audience rigidly from the start, because the way you show up, the way you speak, the words you choose, the energy that you carry, you know, the environment around you, everything plays a role in attracting your ideal audience. And all of these elements are what make up your personal brand because they're part of yourself and they're what's gonna attract your ideal audience and repel the audience that is not a good fit for your mission. Once you identified your why, the next step is to put it into words, and that is your how. A simple way to do this is to think about what problem you solve and what desire your audience has. So it's like finding that trigger that will make people instantly feel, okay, this is for me. So for example, in my case, my audience's problem would be, I feel inauthentic, I'm not communicating myself the way I want to. And the desire would be, I want to show up online as myself without boxing myself into a persona that's not fully reflecting who I am. And so it's through these two things that I came up with my core message, which is build a brand by being you. And to be honest, it took me a while to get clear on this. I went through several iterations of my message. You know, my banner has changed so many times. And so don't be afraid to experiment with your message, with how you're communicating that mission, especially if you still have a small audience. That's the perfect time to experiment. Now, people cannot read your mind. So once you've got clear on your message, you need to make it visible. Now, say that you have a YouTube channel, then your channel banner in there, don't just put a random photo, but add a clear statement of, you know, what your mission is or what your core message is, or maybe a clear tagline. And then in the intro section, you know, don't leave that empty or vague, because that's one of the first places people go and check out what you are about. So in there, clearly outline who the channel is for, who you are, what topics you cover, and of course, what your mission is, so that the person that's checking it out will know exactly what's in it for him or for her. And then of course we have your content, because your videos aren't just listings in a catalog, they're building blocks that will guide your audience on a journey that will help them understand very clearly how you can help them. And so when you're planning your content, really think about that person that is gonna find your channel and is gonna resonate with what you talk about and your why so much that will just want to binge watch all of your videos and will just want more and more from you. And so that's why I highly recommend to plan your content in advance. I personally map my videos out for the next 90 days because that's gonna give me like a clear idea of the direction of my channel. And also, I don't only map out the topics, but also the visuals of how everything will look like. And I will actually publish a video about this next. Ooh. Someone is joining us for the conclusion of this video. When you frame your content through the lenses of your why, you will naturally attract people who will deeply resonate with your message, with your mission. And this is so important because it means that they won't just see you as just another creator to follow casually. They'll see you as someone who stands for something they truly believe in, and someone who can give meaning and direction to their journey. And so I think that's the true difference between just creating content and just posting on YouTube to actually building a movement that is bigger than yourself. Now, there's one technique that you can use to really create the success your channel deserves. And it's something I've been practicing myself for a while, and it's got everything to do with visualization. And I'll show you how in my next video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you there. Mwah.